Yeah, I don't know. Are there deadlines?
Well, the faster we move, the better. I would, if it's okay with you, the 7th would be the best.
Okay. Let's shoot for that then.
Okay.
So we're gonna have them all here and give a presentation
Right, and then you rank
interview.
them and make your decision, and then we finalize the contract. We would delegate the authority to me to negotiate the contract and say with the top term, if you didn't like, if we couldn't reach agreement, then we'd go to the second term and then the third.
So there'll be 3 presentations? is that
Yes,
right?
sir.
I guess I didn't understand that. I thought they were gonna make presentations back to this committee.
Correct.
Oh, so not the mayor and council?
No, back to you all, to you all.
Okay.
Unless you want the committee to do it, it's up to you, but I think we need to get the contract sooner rather than later because of the schedule.
You know, we could save some time if we did it, if we looked at all.
Yeah, it would save us a month.
But my question is, why wouldn't we have the committee do the final 3 in the interviews? I'm totally unqualified to make a judgment on that. I would probably go, well, it's the cheapest. So I think the people who did the initial interviews might be, or the initial survey and analysis would be the ones to, you know, do the interviews and then,
Because you're the only body that can award a contract. So-
well, then I would suggest that a member of that committee make the recommendation to the mayor and council.
No, but I think they should be there when we do the interviews so they can help us get questions.
Well,
And answer questions.
we can do it that way, Ms. Denise, but the problem is it'll cost us an extra month, and right now, we just don't have that
Okay.
time.
And
That's a good idea.
I think also it's important that we have everybody on council sees.
Sees the
so-
same thing, I agree with
Yeah,
that.
and I think it'd be nice if we sort of had the same thing that we did when we looked at these proposals, is have their criteria. So for each proposal that they give us, council up here, we can be marking the criteria, and then we can just compare notes and maybe do the same thing, highest number, so.
Will they have time limits to their presentations? We'll have
Yes,
3
sir.
of them.
Yes.
We will set the parameters, and I will definitely brief council, and you'll be well prepared. And I get it, I mean, this is not something I do every day either, but I've done it enough, and I think between all the staff that we have, we can get you ready for this.
Okay.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I just need.
No problem.
clarification.
All right, so back to the next item, consideration and action to approve BRTU construction in the amount of $2,336,795.15 for the construction of the Hapeville Rail Facilities Project, project number 7949, and to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents pending legal review. This was the low bidder for the Hapeville Rail Facilities Project. This project consists of pavement resurfacing, curb and gutter, new sidewalks, fencing, drainage improvements, and grassing and other safety improvements along the rail corridor. The budget amount for construction is $2,416,795.15. This project is 100% federally funded with no city match. The impacted project area is from Dogwood Drive to I-75. So is anyone prepared to make a motion on this side?
I move we accept the bid.
Motion to accept, is there a second?
No second.
I assume it's a federal contract, we have no choice but accept the lowest bid.
That's correct. All right, so we're in discussion now.
I'm almost afraid to ask Lee, what about the railroad crossing?
I was about to ask you that too. I was looking it up.
At this point, we'll know more when we have our meeting with the railroad, the pre-construction. At this point, I think it's gonna stay open.
I hope so.
And the reason being is we had some meetings with them early on. We were supposed to get an incentive for closing it. And we also, part of their work, which we can't work on their tracks, obviously, through a force account, they were gonna do that routine maintenance, but they sent us an invoice for almost $800,000. So that'd take pretty much all of our funds.
Yeah, that was to remove some of the old spurs, so.
So we've put them on notice that unless they go back to the agreement that we originally agreed upon, we're not gonna.
Yeah, I don't want the agreement. Do whatever you can to keep that open or we're gonna be crying.
Our objective is to keep it open unless the railroad pulls some legal maneuver we're not aware of. We should be moving towards that pathway, and our desire is as T-SPLOS unfolds, is if that goes through, we can realign some of these things and do the silent crossings. So it's all of those objectives, if that's your wish, that staff is moving towards.
Yeah, because I think with more and more stuff happening downtown, more businesses opening up, that's gonna be an interesting without that crossing.
It's gonna be a disaster.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill the downtown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I may, Lee, my fear is, before I sat in this august body up here, we had other grants and other street beautification projects going on, and y'all might know that I'm not a fan of pavers. But what my fear is that I believe there was a map of this is what we're gonna do, and then at some point, perhaps the previous city manager had input and they said, well, no, well, let's do this, or no, let's do this, let's build this plaza and let's do this. I want to have your assurance that if we see the final, that that's what it's gonna be, unless it comes to mayor and council and says, well, we'd like for you to consider this. That's important to me, and it's important for me for the citizens to be able to see what the final is. For one thing, and secondarily, the spurs. Do we get rid of the spurs, or we don't get rid of the spurs?
What we can do probably is just pave
Over
over the
them? Okay.
spurs.
Yeah.
And like I say, because of the railroad right-of-way, a lot of this project was on their right-of-way. So the plans are gonna have to be changed some. At the time all these discussions were happening, we didn't have the money in hand.
Right.
That's the
That
next
makes sense.
agenda item down is, now we have the money. So now we have the money from GDOT, now we can go back to the railroad
Okay.
and say, we had an agreement. If you didn't live by that agreement, then we're not gonna close the crossing.
All right. Just want to make sure we all know where to find the map with the specific upgrades. I know they're all going to be upgrades.
I will definitely commit to keep this council and the public informed about what our construction plans are. Nothing is to be gained by, making field adjustments in the design. I mean, we want to present to you what it is the plan is. We're going to stick to it, we're going to build it and get it done.
Thank you.
And the plan is still for the handicap ramp coming up to the depot area like you see in the other room?
Correct. We made contact with them probably about 2 months ago and still haven't heard when we told them in a letter that we're not closing it.
Yeah,
It still
I
hasn't.
signed that letter stating we were not gonna close that crossing.
So I have a question. I Googled this company and there are like no reviews. They've been open for a while, but I haven't seen any projects that they've done.
They're actually working out at the airport on one of the runways. And I think we sent over Cake and Wood did a review on all their projects. So
It was about 40 pages worth of pictures and stuff.
they've been vetted thoroughly.
Yeah.
By the
Formerly they
engineers.
were Castro, weren't they?
Don't say that word.
Do we have a bigger penalty for delays than $100 a day?
It's set by the
Set by
state.
state law. The contractors have a great lobbyist in the capital.
So why is it set by state law? Because
Because the
Uh,
contractors.
is it because it's a GDOT project or any project that we do is?
GDOT.
Flows through, from the feds through GDOT to us.
Okay, so but if we do the theater, we can put our own because it's not
Yes.
using GDOT
If
funds.
you're not using GDOT funds, that's your own.
Okay.
And the spurs can't be removed by us, like with a crew, I can go get a Home Depot or something?
No, I've got guys that can remove them. We're not sure about that right now. We need to talk to the railroad.
So skate park would love those rails.
Yeah, it's true.
So it dual recycling.
They could just disappear in the middle of the night.
Okay.
Because if we don't get rid of the rails, that
Take over.
spur, pave over, I mean, get rid of that stupid stop sign.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That stop sign drives me nuts.
The chief and I have had that conversation.
Drives a lot of us nuts, but as long as.
I drive it every day, and I have to stop there for nothing. Okay.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? There being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is consideration and action to expend $74,690 for the paving of Woodrow Avenue. Mullins Brothers Paving Contractors has the successful bid on this, and this is part of the 2016 LMIG Local Maintenance and Improvement Grant Program. On July 22nd, the City of Hapeville received bids for Woodrow Avenue paving project. Woodrow Avenue was selected for paving due to the poor conditions of the road surface and available funding. The only bid received was Mullins Brothers at $74,690. The City of Hapeville received $52,178,22 for the 2016 LMIG program. A 30% match is required for this project. The 2017 allocation will be increased to $67,626.67. Is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item?
I move we accept the Mullins Brother bid.
Okay, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion.
I know we've used some before, but how come it was just one bid?
We usually on LMIG, you'll only get 2 bidders. The last one, I think we had 2 bidders. This time we only had
Well,
1.
we've used these people several times.
Mullins Brothers, yeah, they're probably one of the more renowned paving companies.
Okay.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? If there being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item is consideration and action to enter into a construction agreement between the Georgia Department of Transportation and the City of Hapeville for the rail facilities and corridor project, project number 7949, and to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents pending legal review. This goes back to the earlier item. The City of Hapeville has received the bids for the rail facilities and corridor project. The project includes pavement resurfacing, curb and gutter, new sidewalks, fencing, drainage improvements, grassing, and other safety improvements. The budget amount for construction is $2,416,795.15. This project is 100% federally funded with no local match. This agreement between GDOT and the City of Hapeville outlines what the city needs to do in order to comply with all state, federal regulations and the construction for this project. So is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item? Motion to approve. Motion to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second discussion. All right, there being none.
Well, wait a minute. So, I'm sorry, Lee, this is basically, I saw it was 43 pages, the document from GDOT was 43 pages, I guess that's standard government speak, but it just details or reiterates what we had already had as our plan, right? And this just says GDOT saying that they approve of the plan.
This is the actual, you get the money.
Okay.
This is the money, the first thing
Okay.
was the intergovernmental agreement.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So without this one, we wouldn't do so good.
That's correct.
They'll sign this contract, you don't get the money.
Yeah, you only get half.
You only have to.
All right, anyone, well, we're in discussion, I'm sorry. So motion and second, in discussion, any further discussion or question? All right, there being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign, the motion carries. Next item is consideration action to enter into a lease agreement with Cisco Capital in the amount of $119,006 for the purchase of new servers and to authorize the mayor to execute all necessary documents pending legal review. Attached, there are 2 proposals related to the 5-year technology plan. The first proposal outlines actions that must be taken to address critical needs with the city's outdated service system. In the staff's opinion, that without this needed replacement, our servers may go down at any time. Functions affected would include all city financial records as well as email. This is a critical upgrade already planned for and anticipated in the 5-year technology plan. Staff is planning for this upgrade in the budget via a lease purchase agreement. Second proposal is related to the enhanced security features of our system and an upgrade of our existing security cameras tied to the dispatch police functions of the city. This will be a 2-phased approach. The first phase is to approve the attached proposal and purchase/install the needed equipment and support systems for additional security cameras and tag readers in the city system. The second phase, currently being outlined and developed as we speak, would be to run additional fiber optic networks throughout the city. We have provided a general capital estimate for this work. However, the proposal will need to be refined to know the final cost. Final design, however, will not exceed the budget estimate provided in this proposal. The purpose of the fiber is to ensure the speed of the camera signals throughout the city is functioning at an optimal level. The specific items, security equipment and fiber, would be advance funded and move forward in a priority from the original technology plan. Since we would be lease purchasing the system and equipment, the city IT budget will have to absorb this increased cost. However, staff believes we have enough funding in the IT budget and the PD budget to accommodate this needed now and proceed with this project as outlined. Due to the recent rash of criminal activity in the city, we believe this is a cost-effective method of addressing this issue and providing enhanced security to the residents and businesses of our community. So does anyone prepared to make a motion on this item?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, now discussion.
Is there a timeline on this?
So what?
A timeline, implementation?
Staff would like to proceed post haste as fast as.
On the server.
About how long to get the server in, I think.
Server probably begin by 10 days.
Maybe about a month.
Yes. Because keep in mind, obviously, transfer of information and so on and so forth, so if we really have it up and running, within a month's time, I think it'd be
Well,
reasonable.
yeah, what we would be doing is prepping everything, backing everything up, getting ready while we make the order and it comes in, and I guess you guys are saying in about a month, then we'll make the changeover. And this is a virtual server system, so it won't be physical. You're used to seeing the physical boxes in the city hall, but actually they'll be very small because most of it will be migrated up to the cloud.
I have a question about that then. How will the speed of the server be? Because right now I'm using a server out of the cloud and it is driving me crazy because it is so slow.
Extremely fast.
And
You
mine-
sure of that?
The server will be, yes.
Yeah, the Simplicity has a very unique design on it that's basically, without getting into all the technical aspects of it, the way that it read and writes data is basically very cutting edge in a lot of ways. And so it really, really makes a huge, huge difference in the process. So, we've looked at situations where, rather than taking, hours to back up something in certain cases, depending on the speed of connection, you could be backing up just, and it's really amazing technology.
Right now I've not had a good experience with the cloud at all.
Must be a different cloud.
Must be.
Is this
I'm gonna find a new cloud.
$45,000?
By next week I'm having a new cloud, I'll tell you that.
Well, 45,000 your cloud would be.
Yeah.
The speed
That's true, I did not spend 45,000 for my cloud, I'll have to admit that.
You're supposed to be
Speed
Nimbus
depends on
instead of Cumulus.
That's it.
the actual connection, which we're gonna be working to improve. And as far as, these guys have done this before in other communities, we're not the guinea pig, this ain't their first rodeo, and I thoroughly grilled them on it, so I'm satisfied we'll be there.
So again, we approve tonight and 30, 45 days, you're good to go.
Yes. And this
On the
is-
first part.
yes.
Right, servers.
And the servers this is all part of the IT plan that I presented to you a while back. And I'm gonna try to speak a little bit more slowly than I did at that time, since I had a little bit of extra time to speak. But this was all part of the first year plan because of, as I mentioned in that, we're trying to kind of build the foundation of everything. And unfortunately, we feel like this needs to be expedited because you've had some issues with your encode software, for example, the server that's hosting that. It's been a couple of issues with that going down, and that's the cash register for the city. We feel like this is pretty critical now.
Absolutely.
And-
We also tasked the city manager on to move up the security camera situation, because I think originally what you laid out was like year 2 or something.
Yes, the security
And-
camera was for year 3, and the fiber was actually for year 2. So we're having to pull a little bit from year 2 and year 3 plans and revise that to make that happen a little more sense.
So we're now looking at like month 2, month 3 instead of year 2, year 3.
Correct.
Look at that timeline.
But
All that start working.
But also, I was wondering the layout of where these cameras and things are. Rick, I assume you're involved with this,
I
but
am.
will we see something and will other people have input on it? Just
Well, for security reasons, we don't want people to know exactly what we're doing, but we will make sure that the coverage is enhanced over what we have. So in other words, I don't want to reveal the exact pathway of the fiber for security reasons, but we will, we have vetted that through the chief, and we will, are we almost doubling the cameras, the numbers? We'll
It
get-
would be, yeah, we were right at doubling.
We'll.
Is-
Covering all.
And they actually work.
Was it safe to say that you would be laying them out in light of the statistics you have in terms of problems? And also our main corridors?
Exactly.
Same
Yes.
thing, okay.
Are they gonna have the blue lights on top? Like you wanna go to Atlanta, you see that town, they have the blue lights, I don't know.
I guess we haven't even talked about that.
I know.
Cause I think like sometimes it's just not that there's even the camera there, but it's just the deterrent of the camera.
You just get a bunch of extra blue lights and put them around.
Yeah.
A little smile.
Put 'em where the
Yeah,
cameras
no,
are.
whether that's a camera or not.
Just put a dummy camera up,
Yeah.
so. I don't know.
And, Mr. Mayor, if I may, just for the record, there would be 2 lease purchase payments. One would be for $25,618, that's for the server system. And then, as Councilman Raymond was indicating, we are moving up the fiber and the security camera elements from future years. That lease payment could go as high as $59,574. But obviously, we will manage the project very effectively, and I'm looking for a delegation from this council to myself to make sure we get it done quickly and cost effectively. And we obviously, that would be the high end. It would not exceed $59,574. If it did, I would have to come back to you and get your authorization to do that.
But we don't
Both
want
of
them
those-
to come back to us.
Both of those figures fit within our budget.
Chief Glavis, would you be able to, when this is in place, document when we're solving crimes on where the camera systems enable that, or sped it up, or absolutely were necessary?
Well, we've actually talked about that internally, and I think that would be a great idea. The
Well, it
camera
would
system
justify the
itself
cost.
would not do that for us, but we could start a program that would account for all of those. So we could put it in a report and bring it back to you. So the answer is yes. It would take an extra step, but I think it would be prudent also.
They do the package, just have what's happening, Mark. Have a little chart.
That sounds good. Yep, should be that easy.
So I have a question, back to the servers. The Microsoft 2012 licensing, what is that?
It is-
Why are we going to 2012?
It is the newest server software out right now.
Okay, so basically could you explain why you have to have server software and 200 of them?
Because everything runs on, you have like your in-case server run on it, would run on one server, your domain controller would run on one server. Everything would have its own individual license.
And then every workstation has to
Has to have
have
a
a
license.
CAL license, they call it,
That is correct.
a terminal license.
Okay, so this isn't getting like Microsoft Windows updates on the current computers. This is just the ability for the computer to talk to the server.
That is correct.
Okay.
And how often do
And
they
like,
change?
use that software.
Do they change those? So it's 2012 now, by the time we do this, I mean, what are the chances that we've got to upgrade?
I mean, I don't know what Microsoft is thinking, but there was 2003, 2007, 2011, and 2012, so.
So we're 4 years away from that. Okay.
Yeah.
It's
It's really hard to say, that, you know.
That's only 25
And I'm assuming you don't have to upgrade as soon as they come out with a new one.
No, actually,
Correct.
it's advisable not to.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Yeah,
We'll let somebody else
Microsoft's
work the problems out.
Microsoft likes to use customers as their beta testers. Yes, exactly.
I never go with the new one.
They'll probably change it in 2020 now.
And I'm sure the Tandys are working really well.
Yeah.
You don't even know what a
Tandy
Tandy
is,
is.
do you?
You don't know what a TRS-80 is, do you?
I have one of those.
Apple Commodore 64?
I had TI-83 plus the calculator that I could play Snake on.
Probably did 10 times what my other one did.
First calculator I bought when I was a kid was like $80.
It calculated back then? I thought you had like a little stone thing you had
It's
the
an
hammer on.
Add, subtract, divide, and multiply, that's about it.
Josh, it was an abacus.
Yeah.
I still have that at the office.
All right, okay. So, any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, make fun of the old man. I am old enough to be your dad.
We've done 3 pages out of this. How far are we going tonight?
And we're gonna go all night long. All right, so is everyone prepared to make,
We already
I'm
did
sorry,
that.
we've done all that. We're in discussion. So all in favor of the motion, raise your right
If
hand.
I could clarify the motion, just that it's to move forward with the lease purchase as quickly as possible and delegate to the staff the ability to make all of the purchasing decisions within the budget as outlined.
This is just for the servers.
That's correct.
It's
Right,
more, yeah,
and then
that's-
then the second item would be the,
So some questions on that too.
Yes.
Would it be okay with everyone if Josh was included in that staff decision? I mean, I appreciate his input. Is that acceptable? To you first.
I mean, I don't mind.
Okay.
You're gonna see me on the emails or whatever you're
I
gonna
don't want to know
do.
anything about computers, so
doesn't matter to me.
have at it.
Okay.
All right.
Good with that.
Sounds good. All right.
Buckle up, it's gonna be fast.
All right. Any other
Spark.
discussion?
Don't call me Sparky for nothing.
All right, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Next item is consideration and action to enter into a lease agreement with Cisco Capital in the amount of $279,175 for the purchase of security surveillance camera systems and to authorize the mayor to sign all necessary documents pending legal review. Again, there are proposals attached related to the 5-year technology plan. The camera system is related to enhance security features of our system and upgrade our existing security cameras tied to the dispatch police functions. Two-phased approach as mentioned earlier, and it looks like it includes 16 whole mount cameras to,
License plate recognition.
those are the LPR cameras.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 2 LPR cameras and the fiber, approximately 8 miles of fiber throughout the city. Now, what we're gonna gain with the fiber, one of the issues we've had with the cameras we've already got now, but it utilizes the city Wi-Fi network.
And as all y'all know,
Say
I haven't, that is not the best.
I haven't particularly heard anybody jumping for joy about the
I don't know, I've
reliability
never been able to get on it.
of that network. And that would probably go back to a TRS-80 if you knew what that was. You would laugh, but you don't. So the humor flies over.
So when I connect to this Wi-Fi, does it go like?
Yeah.
The TRS-A used a
AOL
cassette player to
all
load its program.
So, anyway, so what we gain with the fiber is the best way in the world to send video is via fiber. So, you gain virtually limitless speed and whatnot. So when you're gonna implement, I do this for a living, guys, so that's why I'm talking this stuff. The fiber is gonna give us the throughput that we need to have a very, very robust camera system with no lag or anything like that, so. it'll be
We kind
fast.
of like wave that in front of Google and say, look, we're already getting this fiber in.
Well, this is fiber for our own use.
Okay, so
I hate to
dedicated.
skip us because we've already got it.
Yeah.
Say no more. Mom's the word.
I'm in line.
Okay, all right, so is anyone prepared to make a motion on this item?
Technically, it would be 8.5 miles of fiber.
Okay, well, it just says on the
I know,
proposal.
we took a guess, but it's
Okay.
8.5 miles.
Okay, all right.
I move to accept the lease agreement with Cisco Capital.
All right, motion to accept, is there a second?
Second.
Second discussion?
I have some questions. And I thought when we were talking the other day, we were talking about $5,000 a mile for fiber, and now it's looking like $10,000 a mile for fiber.
Yes, sir. We have not had the official response back from the same construction company that had spoken with the city manager and Chief Blavasek about that 5,000 miles. We asked them about that, we contacted them, and been escalating up to some higher levels to get that number verified, and they have not given it back to us. So as a precautionary measure, we've tried to make sure that there's enough in there to make sure that you are covered on fiber.
Okay.
It's a placeholder number, it's not
Okay.
a real number.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then do these come with the poles? So like for the $7,000 for a camera, is that pole included? Is that everything?
That's not the pole included, but that's the switch, the
both fiber modules, the camera, the surge protection stuff, the termination stuff. That's covering to get everything done on it and
Okay.
configured back to the server.
Because they look really expensive, because I just Googled one of the cameras and it was like $1,000.
Well, what you gotta do though, Josh, you gotta have battery backup,
Yeah.
because
So
if.
that's why I didn't know what was included,
If,
so.
if power goes out, you lose that. Plus, you also have to have a fiber switch. It's not just a hardwired switch, it has to have fiber. So that's expensive. Then, of course, they gotta get a bucket truck up there to put it up there.
That's
and
in labor.
surge suppressors, so.
But we're going with a commercial grade recommendation, heavy.
Yeah, I Googled like the Axis
Yeah, the
P5
Axis cameras
for
are
sound.
higher end.
And it came up as $1,000, like, so I don't know where we got 7 or 10 times, 6 times the price.
The camera cost, battery backup, the Dingle 3R boxes are gonna have to go up for the fiber and the battery backup, and for the switch to go in it, and for the surge protection stuff.
So we're looking at,
And to get the fiber terminated and have multiple fiber uplink modules so you have redundancy.
okay.
Is what's in that price.
Okay. Okay.
You've installed these in other cities? Do you always have to use an independent pole, or do you ever piggyback with something like Georgia Power? Is that available at all?
So, yeah, Georgia Power
Would not.
never heard of them letting you put stuff on their poles.
Okay.
I guess, yeah. Okay. That's the only question I have. And then, the LPR camera,
Yes,
that's the,
the license plate recognition.
okay. So those are license plate recognition, there's 2 of them.
Yes.
And so how does that work?
They, basically they'll cover, each camera can cover 1 lane, and they can read a license plate up to from 100 feet at 200 miles an hour. So you can set up a course track if we want to really test it going around and see if that's the case. So it's able to, first of all, read it, from that, and the camera has that ability to get to that resolution. And also there's a software, that then goes back into this. That's where the servers also come into play here, is that to gather that data and also match it against a database. You'll see in there the proposal for the HTTP or FTP, where you could use different databases that you can pull into it to match against that, and that information then is able to be fed back to the police department.
Okay, so how would they know if they get a hit on something?
It'd be immediately in real time, pop up on the screen for them.
Okay, so would it come to dispatch?
We've
How-
tested and evaluated them, and they are accurate.
Okay.
It would, in this case here, being stationary mounted, it would go into the dispatch center. That information would be conveyed to the officers, or we could set it up to where it could actually, the officers could pick some of the information up, or a specific officer could pick it up. But yes, most likely it would go into the dispatch center, and they would dispatch a car, notify them of the information.
No, that's not tied to GCIC though, it's tied.
It is, actually,
Okay.
yes.
It just
And
speaks to GCIC.
Are these cameras gonna be on cars coming into town, going out of town?
We are strong advocates of the vehicle mounted camera system, that's the LPR. In this, because we would get that, the officer would grab it in real time, but in these cases here, it would. In fact, we will talk about where the best placement for the stationary mounted would be. So they would be in strategic locations where we're experiencing some issues, and where we think the best impact would be.
And is there a way to move the LPR cameras to like other poles that already have the fiber connected to it, so you can just sort of interchange them? So if this has gotten hot and everybody knows that this is a license plate reader on this camera, could we move it? Is that a possibility?
Yes.
Okay, so, eventually, when they start catching on, they just don't use that road anymore.
You're an alternate route, and then you can have the license plate.
Well,
reader.
And if there's already a fiber there with a camera, we
Right.
could just switch the cameras out and go from there. Okay.
Is there a trigger for the cars that, would you say, would read up to 200 miles an hour? If they're going like 100, will that be an automatic trigger to the police department?
Yes, I mean, it can pick up the license plates as they're coming through.
But does it pick up the speed?
No, it's not a radar.
Oh, no, radar, no.
Okay, I was
It's
just
just
curious.
information from the-
I'll work on that. Okay.
So it does like, I guess it pulls insurance, does it pull all that kind of stuff?
Yeah,
Like,
It'll actually pull in wanted people, like if a person is associated with a vehicle, it'll run through the GCI, CNCI system, and it'll actually give us alerts back that this person could be wanted. So
Or if
it's
it's a
lot-
stolen car, same thing?
Stolen car, absolutely, that's its primary function.
Okay.
If the car is registered properly. it would-
Typically, the wanted people are in the stolen car, right?
Yes, that's true.
Okay. Any other questions?
so there's how many cameras?
So will it be a bathroom break?
The proposal is for 20, which of course can be scaled back if needed.
Okay.
But we're looking at trying to make sure that there's enough in there to cover all the different areas based on the analysis we've done. We've been out with the Chief Glavsek, appreciate, he spent a lot of time with us, you know, which we fully appreciate.
Which is good, because it's a lot of money.
Yes, but yeah, to really get a feel for the best locations for that, and so we've been working very closely with them on mapping the specific areas where those would go.
Okay, and do the cameras move? Can you like hand tilt zoom?
Yes.
Okay. So they're not just stuck at one location. If they need to follow an individual or something, they can do that at dispatch?
Yes,
Okay.
from a central computer there.
Okay.
And we are recommending two workstations that are specifically dedicated for that. That's part of the proposal as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just one quick comment, Mr. Mayor, the staff has spent numerous hours on this, and I'd like to commend Liberty. They vetted this very thoroughly for us, I believe, and Chief Glavsek and his staff, and, you know, all the deployment of this would be strategic based on his crime data and his choice about where the most optimal locations would be.
But it's gotta be harder to get into than our neighbors.
Got
What I
it?
say.
Okay. All right, further discussion? There being none, all in favor of the motion, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign.
When does this start? When does it start being on?
They'll start working on it tomorrow morning.
Yeah, but essentially, we'll get a finalized plan together, to full roll out of it. But yes, I mean, we're basically waiting to get the go-ahead from here to, make contacts with the camera distributor and start getting things.
So we're gonna monthly update?
If you would like, yes, sir.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll let them monthly update. Even just in the green sheet or
Yeah,
something.
the green sheets,
Yeah, yeah, you
IT
can just-
is in the green sheets now, so.
And of course, we're happy to give any updates to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, at this time, everybody's asking for a potty break, so I'll entertain a motion that we recess.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, we stand in recess.
Nice close up.